Aatmik Gupta, you sexy motherfucker.
You said it, not me. I guess it must be
It's
true.
the hair, mate. It's the hair. It's gorgeous.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. And now with that compliment, I think this is headed. I had a bad feeling about this, and now
It's a good start.
it's a good start.
Yeah,
That's,
the boys like
how
it
to
when
get-
I call them sexy.
I think that's compliments are every man's weakness.
Ooh, even by another man, it's still
I think we're starved, right? We're all mostly starved for love. I mean, everybody. I don't think it's a man thing or anything. I think our world is, moving towards more loneliness. So everyone's very open to something nice.
I agree to that, actually. It does feel like even with social media sometimes, even with social media and like how we're so interconnected with everyone, it's almost like, I guess the hope for it was that we would be more interconnected and more, social beings. But in a sense, it's almost gone the opposite way for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the social media or, maybe it was always like that. Maybe everyone's just being unhappy, and this is just our turn to experience the unhappiness that everyone's been experiencing for a long time. And, it's that or whatever it is. I mean, everyone looks great. I think that's the advantage. I think everyone looks wonderful, especially in this city, right? You walk around and everyone looks great, but I guess there's a limit to how happy that makes you. I feel like I'm not saying I'm good looking, but I think I've gotten better looking. Just living here.
Wow.
Because you kind of have to be, right?
Yeah.
It kind of forces you got to keep up.
Yeah, you do, actually.
And that works for a while. Like, it makes you happier when you get a little bit better looking. But then, you can't go on forever, right? Like, you hit your limit.
Yeah.
Like you can get maybe 15, 20%.
But I don't know, I feel like you can still, there's different
I could
levels.
get even better looking.
There are, but there's different levels of good looking too. Because I think when I was 28 to 32, that was my prime.
How old are you now?
36.
Okay.
But then you still look at older men can still be very handsome.
Oh, yeah. I think it's one
but
of
they're not like young man hot, but they're like old man hot.
It's a different thing. Yeah.
Women unfortunately don't sometimes sometimes hit a limit.
See, my view on that is just, I think, it's weird. And it's actually one of the ways where I really believe that the way the world is set up, it's hard. It's kind of nice to be a guy in the sense that I think women are very forgiving and they give you a bunch of ways to be beautiful. And you can be. I think one of the best. I see. You ever see these hot, ugly guys? You kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think there's a way for a guy to be like a monster. But he's kind of. But there's a type of woman who'd be into that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is this. You see those huge bald guys that they have they're like. They got little clumps in them, and they're and they work it out. Like they're ugly, but they are actually, to someone, they are beautiful. Whereas I think men just don't extend that open-mindedness to women for whatever reason, right? Because you never really see, you're never like, wow, that woman is so sort of aggressive, so horrible looking that she's actually kind of sexy, which I think, women.
Yeah.
The same with the money, right? Like, it's true. You can just be rich and in a real way. I don't even believe that it's like women are in it for the money or anything. Like, in a real way that you feel in your heart, I think you see a rich guy who's just rich and could be bad looking, and you sort of feel an attraction.
Yeah.
And
why is that?
I think it's just. There's that whole concept of what is it, mimetic desire, right? Which I'm a big believer that most of our desires are just, we just want what everybody else wants, right? And so I think it's just that, like, you just internalize that this is what people want, and you start wanting it, right? Like, because I felt that happen. Like, even I think, the types of women that I found beautiful from a very early age, right? Like, I think when I was very young, and maybe puberty is a part in this, but I can remember a time when, I didn't care about tits or anything. I really didn't. I'm not, I just didn't. And it was, someone could be very beautiful. And I would actually look down upon these guys who would be like into these women with tits, because I was like, well, that's, very mainstream, right? But then I got in, then I think eventually it like kind of, turned where, I remember a time when I would be like, oh, I like the more alternative girls. And I believed that. But then I think over time, just being around people has, kind of whips you into submission. Like, you just gotta like what everyone likes. Which maybe is, that's out of an insecurity, if not believing in your desires.
It's interesting. I'm starting to wonder, why do we like what we like? Why are we attracted to what we're attracted to? And thank God we're not all attracted to the same thing. Like, have you ever been out with a mate? Like, this has happened to me a lot of times. I've been out with one of my good mates.
Yeah.
Him and I were on the prowl, and there'll be two girls.
Right.
And they're both good looking, and I'll be like, dude, I'm going to go for the one on the left. He's like, thank God, because I want the one on the right. And it's like...
Yeah. I think that's true, but I think it's getting narrower. So I think for some reason, it's still true, but I think everyone does look kind of more similar now. And I think it's part of because everyone wants to look, everyone has, right? People talk about that, Instagram, face, whatever. And I think it's true. Like, I feel it about myself, right? Like, because, for a minute you get excited. Oh, I look good. Then you like walk out on the street and then you're like, this is just a new type of guy, right? Like, I'm just one of these types of guys. And then there are maybe, 6, 7 models of like person, and everyone is trying to get to that. And I don't know. I think there's some way in which that's been shifting. I don't know if you feel similarly.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I do. Like, you'll see groups of women, or even like, look at those groups of guys. They're all wearing the same thing.
100%.
Four dudes wearing shorts, t-shirts, nearly looking exactly the same.
100%.
Women you see all the time, like in winter you would see them wearing the same outfit, jeans, a little leather jacket, like a little, you know.
Right.
And it's like, we do kind of, we're all kind of the fucking same. There's a few degrees of separation.
Exactly. And I think, it's actually one of the reasons why and in a weird, not that it's real, but in a weird way, I kind of like being alone. I'm almost embarrassed to be a part of a group, because I have this theory that when you see people in a group, they kind of lose their mystery, right? Because you see a person walking alone, no matter what they look like, you can kind of believe. You can, of course, you judge them based on what they look like, but there's a possibility that they could be anybody, right? Like, you're judging them, but you kind of know, okay, this could be, I think this, but who knows? But when you see a group of people, and what I find is, as you said, there's always these similarities that are inescapable. Maybe in how they dress, maybe in the way they look, just the way they walk. And when you see a group, and then it's like, okay, that's who these people are. Because when you're in that group, then you're like, oh, now I just know the full measure of that person. Or I have this thing, which, obviously that's also insane and diluted. But
it makes sense, because you can almost it almost verifies your suspicion, because that suspicion has just been multiplied 4 times.
Exactly, and then it's like that's not coincidence. Yeah. So then it's like shit, and that's why I think I get so.
So if you think she's like a bit of a slut, right? She just looks like a little bit of a slut. But she's walking with 3 girls that kind of all look like sluts. You're gonna go,
well, that's who they are. No. And my fear. That's why I never want to walk around with my friends, because it's like, fuck, this is who I am, and that's frightening to me. I'd rather when I'm alone, then I'm in my head. I'm like, well, I'm whatever I want to be that day, right? Which sometimes you're depressed and you're nobody, but sometimes you're feeling good about yourself, and then you can walk tall. But then it's like, well, these 3 guys, then I can't get the smell off me. So
yeah, it does. It weakens you as well in a certain way. Like it weakens you in this, not in the sense, it weakens your identity in a sense because it dilutes you. You get diluted in a crowd.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe what you'll find just talking to me. It's very difficult maybe to talk to me in one sense because I'm always contradicting myself because just the way that I think is like, well, right now I just made this argument, right, about how people, how we shouldn't be in these groups, but then now I have to make the counter argument that...
Make it.
That well, no, I mean, I just don't, I don't have friends or something.
But that's interesting the way your brain thinks. Well, I can kind of relate to that because you can think something in life or feel something, but then the next day feel completely different, and it's like, well, who the fuck am I? What is this thing that's going on here? What is this computer that is working?
Totally.
Is it working for me? Is it working against me? Why do I feel like this? What, like my wife will be like, how come someday, like you said that you like this and like you said at this point and so I got you because I got this for you because you said you liked it, right?
Right.
And I'll be like, well, I know I said I liked it then because then I did like it. But now I don't.
And it's a good example where this has happened. Is this a physical gift or a...
No, it'll be... It'll
you a dildo.
I said I didn't like the big black ones, all right? But now I do. And it's... No, there's lots of examples. There's lots of examples. I don't know about. Don't ask me to draw specifics. My brain is like this is like early in the morning for me right now. Let's keep going.
Okay, in the abstract. No, you're right. I mean, I was thinking about that recently. Like you're always thinking about that, but it's like, well, the thoughts. You don't decide to think anything. It just kind of happens, right? Which then calls into question. Like, what really is the deal? Like, because, well, if I'm not deciding what I like, then am I even, like, me?
I think we do decide, though.
You do?
I think we do decide, but I think we're weak in the sense of, like, okay, just like, hopefully I can articulate this properly. Just like you were saying, at one point you believed you liked in the girls that were a little different, right?
Right.
And when you're early,
I still like them.
Okay, right. And I still like sluts, so don't. and you liked the girls that when you were younger who were flat, right? And then now you like the girls with tits. I feel like we end up just becoming a product of our environment.
Exactly.
And I feel like that isn't a choice. So to speak, but we still do choose. I think we still do have free will. Do you think we have free will?
I mean, it's been a big. So I mean, if you're asking me very genuinely, like at an intellectual level, I actually don't think we do. I can't find a way to convince myself. I mean, and people, and I think maybe this is why, is like I had a friend who explained this very elegantly. I think it's like, well, kind of to believe in free will, you kind of need to believe in God or something. You need to believe in something that's, outside of the material plane. Because otherwise, right, if I think that I'm just, I kind of believe, and this might not be true, but this is what I believe, is that what I'm feeling right now is just a direct result of the way the particles in my head are arranged at this given moment, right? Like, if they're arranged like this, I'm feeling happy. If they're like this, I'm sad. And then if you kind of believe in just, again, not to get, this is, I guess, bro science at some level, but if you just believe in conservation of energy, it's like, well, the way the particles are now kind of perfectly determines where they will be in the next moment, and then blah, blah, blah. So then there's really no point. The free will doesn't come into it unless there's something, boom, which is outside of the material plane, which can just change things.
But my understanding of free will is the sense of like, all right, I want to drink, so I'm going to now grab my drink because I choose to drink because this is my, you know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
It's your ability to make a decision. So what is your definition different to mine?
No. It's like, but so I think Schopenhauer, right, said that man can do what he wills. but he cannot will what he wills, right? So it's like, yeah, you decided, like you had the impulse to do something and you can act on that impulse, but what precedes that impulse? Like, why did you have that impulse? Or like, again, like you want to drink, but did you like really decide to drink? I mean, where did the want come from?
Was it your body's need for substance that is on an unconscious level triggered some sort of I understand
impulse? And I mean, you can. Yeah.
Do you ever analyze your dreams, or do you ever really look at your thoughts? Like this is something I do. I write down all my dreams because I find them extremely interesting, and I always have crazy dreams. But I also have a lot of lucid dreaming where I'm conscious.
That's great.
Conscious inside my dream of exactly what's happening.
Right.
And something that happened to me 2 days ago was, and this wasn't the first time this happened, but it was the first time I was very conscious of it. And in my dream, I was in the last stages of sort of waking up, but I was still, it was like a lucid dream. And my brain was just throwing these little images like, like I don't know, are they called a kaleidoscope? What are those things that you used to look in and like you could turn and all the images? Right? It was like that. And it was just like an image of this, image of that, and just all completely different things. I mean, where the fuck does that come from?
No, it's
like where is this coming from?
Yeah, that's
not my free will. I
mean that's definitely some unconscious. I mean I agree with you. I love dreams and thinking about dreams, and I get lots of and I don't know if I do a lot of lucid dreaming, but whenever it happens, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's always like, I always have this, to me, it's like live action GTA or something. Because whenever I realize I'm in a dream, I'm like, okay, now we can finally do what's been on my mind, and no one can stop me. And if the cops show up, well, let them. So that's...
I used to have these dreams where... This is interesting. All right. So, and I feel like this is a level of, if I'm judging my own dream, this is a level of my own development over the last year. Because I used to have these dreams where I would be in this hopeless situation, and no matter what I would do, I just couldn't fight against the environment.
Okay.
It would be like someone trying to fuck me up, dude. Someone literally trying to fucking kill me.
Oh, I thought it was just someone trying to fuck you.
No, I've had those, but like someone trying to really fucked me up, dude. I've had some fucked up dreams. I've had a dream where someone like came in and chopped my penis off in my dream.
Gee,
you know, like
how did that feel?
It was horrifying, dude.
Horrifying.
Yeah. And I woke up, I was like, Jesus Christ.
So you were having some marital trouble.
This is pre-marriage. And dude, like lately, when I have these sorts of dreams, I've been noticing that I'm starting to become not helpless, but I'm helping myself, and I'm actually like defending myself.
Yeah,
I'm fighting back. And the other night, I had a dream where this guy like tried to overpower me, tried to take my phone, and I fucked this dude up.
Oh my god!
And it was the first time I like grabbed him, dude. I was fucking headbutting him.
Wow.
And for some reason I knew jujitsu really well, and I was like jujitsuing him.
These are the first steps, Cam. And soon you'll be able to do this in reality.
But you know, it made me think. In my life, in my actual physical life, I've been overcoming a lot of fears over the last year and moving towards something that I have no idea about. Had no skill in a year ago.
Sure.
Still am shit, but you know, I'm getting better. But I've taken these steps to overcome a great fear, and in my dreams, it's been correlated in my dreams. Whereas I used to be helpless in situations, and now I'm and it's bizarre. There's certainly something going on there with the unconscious meeting up with the conscious.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think, and it's not perfect, but it's. You know, when I look at my own dreams, it's like, okay, often they, you know, make explicit some emotion that you're feeling at such a sort of subterranean level that you're, you know, it's like you don't even know it's there. But if someone told you maybe that it's what you were feeling, you might say, okay, it is there, or there are these types of emotions. So I often feel, right, like whether it's, like say if I've been having these dreams recently, which are just very, sort of heartbreaking kind of dream, or like, it's just like, oh, sad, like it's like it'll be some girl or something, and then like she'll go away, like someone from my past or something. Like it's just like some sort of sadness about lost love or something, and they're sort of bad. Like I really dislike them because you wake up actually feeling sort of affected, right? Like the first thing you feel at the start of your day is like sad, which is unpleasant. But at some level, I think, okay, this is clearly something that I feel even through the day, but I just don't, let myself feel it because it feels like a useless emotion. But maybe that's not the right way to think about emotions. You just have to, you are feeling this. You didn't choose to feel it. You don't want to feel it, but you're feeling it. And I think maybe the dreams kind of force you to go through that process, which is healthy.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree to that. Do you, I have that as well. Like, do you ever wake up? I find that the first thing when I wake up in the mornings can often be the worst times. For some reason, like this morning I was thinking about something from my past. It was something that had hurt me.
Yeah, I was too.
Oh, truly?
Yeah, truly.
And it was weird. It is usually in the mornings when that happens, when my defense mechanism is down and I can't actually. But it almost feels like, in a sense, I'm starting to become aware of maybe the fact it just needs to come up. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I agree. So I think it happens maybe in the morning, and then I think right before you go to bed. And I think it's a little bit because, then you don't have any of these stimuli, right? Like in the middle of the day, you walk about, the world is throwing stuff at you. You can kind of absorb yourself into that, into other people. You sort of, that voice in your head is pretty quiet mostly. And then, whenever there's a bit of silence in the morning, night, I always have, your mind wanders to where it really wants to go. And then there's nothing to, no shiny stuff to lead it elsewhere. So then you have those thoughts.
Do you meditate?
I've been trying to. I mean, it's, one, of course, it's like every person I've loved, in comedy, right? All my heroes, everyone's really into this. So to me, that was, in a weird enough way, like a reason to try. I took a class, which...
A meditation class?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Not because I think you need to take a class, but I think it's more like, and it's often with anything you take a class for, it's like, it forces you to take it a little more seriously.
Also, there's multiple techniques to meditation.
Yeah, and I'm sure they can
that's
all,
good that you
they can all work.
I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a class or educating yourself. Yeah, why the fuck not, dude?
It's true. But so I've been doing it, and to be honest, I've really enjoyed it whenever I've done it. And I'm actually trying to be more consistent. Part of that, just failing with that, is just you need to take out time for it in a very intentional way, which it can feel like when everything's going well in your life and you have everything scheduled, then you can find the time to do the meditation. But then when it's like stuff is going crazy, then you're like, well, am I really going to stop for 20 minutes to do nothing, which is bad because that's probably when you need it the most. And it's all about discipline and regularity. But I found it very, very useful. And a lot of, it does kind of get you close to that dreaming sort of state where you can, at least my experience with the meditations almost always is, I sort of walk through different, often memories, random memories, and sort of relive them in a way that's kind of, it's interesting to have that experience. So have you been?
Yeah, I've been doing it pretty consistently for probably 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And super consistently since I've been sober.
Wow.
Since I've been sober for now 4.5 months now, this time around, and I've done it every single day. So yeah, it's a lot easier because when you're drinking, you know, like
Sure.
I'm not meditating. Because I always do it at nighttime.
Okay.
I do it before I go to bed.
Okay.
But yeah, I started doing it years ago, and I love it, dude. It's yeah. I can't literally go to bed now if I don't. I'll cut home at 4 a.m. I'll still just get on my mat, do it, even if it's just for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know,
right,
just
yeah.
get it, chill out, and then go. I find for me, it's the bringing yourself back. That's what I get a lot out of it, because my mind wanders a lot. A lot of our minds do. We're all so distracted. Our mind just zigzags constantly to different stimuli and different things. And what I find really helpful with meditation is that awareness of, like, when your mind goes, let it go, and you just kind of follow it.
Yeah.
And then it comes back. And when it comes back, you're like, I'm myself. I'm in myself again. And
Totally.
it's that those constant. Oh, I just spat on my mic. Those constant. I'm back.
Right.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of beautiful.
You're back to
Because when you're in here, you're not living.
right.
You know?
see something like that close to your face, you got to spit on. But anyway.
Yeah, it's it's cool, man.
No, that's no. I agree, and I mean, I've had it was kind of nice to go back. I think the reason I did the class and stuff was
Yeah, did you get anything out of that?
I did. I mean, it's mostly because I think I'd struggled with meditation in the past, in the sense that I tried to do it, out of this desire, like, oh, it seems great, but whenever I'd actually done it, I'd found, like, oh, this is really, and maybe it can be a little bit like what type of meditation you're doing, like, in college at some point, I was on a whim. I was like, oh, let me go do this. They were having some meditation thing, which it seemed, there's a Buddhist guy. It was like an hour-long meditation. And, I was in, and now we're sitting, and this Buddhist guy is like, empty your mind, right? And everyone's emptying their mind. And now we're sitting there for an hour. And like... and so it was hardcore, maybe I went into the deep end a bit, but I remember going crazy, going crazy, but I remember feeling horrible, like we were 20 minutes in. It had something to do with the fact that there was a girl in the meditation, and I was like, I think I used to like her, and then now she wasn't, and like we'd had a little friendship, and now she was like, pretending that I wasn't there, and that's all I was thinking about. Like I had not emptied my mind, and so I emptied my mind for like 15 minutes, and then for 45 minutes I was upset about why this girl is pretend and what was I fucking expecting? She's emptying her mind. She's not going to be waving to me.
Bitch shouldn't be emptying her mind. She should be thinking of me.
Exactly, right? Can't we just hug and kiss and let these idiots who have nobody
empty their fucking
can empty
minds?
Their minds. We have something special here, But so so it was just such an unhappy. Like I walked out of that thing thinking I can never do this again.
Interesting.
And so the class was kind of helpful just to reset that fear or stupid thing. But yeah, it's great. I mean, my favorite comedian, who I'll admit sometimes I can sound like, and people think it's Seinfeld. People accuse me of, which again I might. Plausibly could, but my favorite comedian is Gary Shandling, and who you should check out. Both I would say, as a comedian, of course, but truly as a sort of philosopher of comedy, and just more generally, just a guy whose vibe I really like, and he really attributes, just his funniness and like his whole style to having meditated a great deal, and you can kind of see it. Like if you saw him be funny, he does it in a way, where he kind of, it's a little it's like, you think, I mean, I actually don't know anything about boxing, but in my head, it's like Muhammad Ali. It's like floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. He has that thing, and you can just sense there's something where that stillness or that presence the meditation can get is sort of gotten him there. And I love that. So to me, that's a big reason to do it.
Ah, nice, man. I got to check this guy out. That's awesome. How is the love life going?
Is it ever going well? I don't know. I think.
I mean, it's a pretty good place for it.
Well, I will say it's not really been my experience. But mostly, I'm sure I could try. I mean, I'm not making any excuses. Well, whatever. Maybe there are things that are wrong with me. But
Do you want me to give you the list? Or?
yeah. I thought we were gonna do that. Actually. No, but I actually would not mind. I mean, one of my big. I actually like on a more serious. We could talk about it.
Yeah.
Because one of my big obsessions, and it's funny, you kind of don't really get to do it in life. And maybe it's one of the reasons I do comedy is I really want to understand what people think of me at a real level, right? Because I believe that, well, ultimately you're going to get better if you know what's wrong with you. And sure, we have our own understanding of what's wrong with us, but our understanding's limited. And ultimately really, and maybe this is the problem to begin with, I kind of want to fix not just what I think is wrong with me, but what other people think is wrong with me, right? That's kind of it's almost like, and again, maybe that's
an endless battle you'll never win, bro.
that is what everyone says, but that's because they're pussies and they don't have what I have.
But
I'm gonna do it. Yeah, everyone. It's very easy. Oh yeah, love yourself. Well, yeah. Every day I meet some, fucking 60-year-old who's figured it out and has loved themselves, and they seem happy. But I'm not gonna turn into.
You got to block out the noise, bro. You can't. No, you don't have to love yourself. Fuck that. I don't love myself, but you got to block out the noise. I don't know, man.
I know.
It's so destructive. I think I spent way too much of my life worrying about what other people think of me, and I still do. The reason why I don't do things that I know I should, even to give you an example, like there'll be a new bit that I really want to try on a show, and I really want to try on a show, and then I'll do the show and I'll bitch out on doing it because I'm worried that I'm going to bomb, and I'm worried that what people will think of me.
Yeah,
and it stops you from doing so much. It's so destructive.
I agree, and I actually think stand-up has been very useful for me. At least,
me too.
I was making these jokes, but at a real level, it like accepting yourself or kind of finding some pleasure with just who you are, because especially now, and I really try to, and it's a thing it's a direction I'm working in is like, say like really just not giving a fuck about the audience, and because I've seen people do that, and I mean it's an art, like it's a form or a style of comedy, because I've seen people who really do that amazingly well, right? These guys who come out sometimes, right? It's real killers will do this, where they'll just come out. They really don't give a fuck what the audience thinks. You can feel it. You can feel that sort of bravado or that real confidence that they really don't care. And then that gives them like the license to kind of go wherever. And that's almost always very funny. But then it just gives you like this real sense of power, which stand-up is like a great theater to try that. And then you can kind of, have that same sense in life where it's a little bit like, well, I really, I don't give a fuck what you think. It's confusing just because I think empathy at some level is also like a huge, like it's hugely important to me, like at a real level. Like, I mean, there's this bullshitty part, oh, what do people think of me? But there's a real part, which is like, well, I actually don't just, like there are thoughts in my head which are like, fuck that person, or that guy's dumb, that guy sucks. But there's also a real part in me which is like, no, that guy's coming from someplace, right, and it has a real perspective. Which again, that's a duel, and there's a level at which I really think it's like, well, if I believe that guy's coming from someplace, and this guy doesn't like me, so there's some truth to the reason that he doesn't like me, which is something for me to fix, which I can't just deal with by saying, oh, fuck that guy. So that's always a weird kind of thing.
I get where you're at. I get where you're at. Because on a certain sense, say for example, let me try and deconstruct this in my mind so I can pick it up. So like in a certain sense, if someone was to say, if you were to overhear someone say, I don't like, I'm going to use myself for example. If I was to hear someone say, I don't like Cam because the way he on stage, let's do a comedy example, the way he on stage goes and like just did something, like the way he wasn't articulate, and you heard over someone say,
right.
You could be like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, or the cunt thing.
Yeah, the cunt thing, right? The way he says cunt on stage or whatever. And you could say fuck that guy, or you could be like, all right, maybe he has a point there.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a certain level of point.
Sure.
But I think that where you have to draw the line is you have to not let it affect you emotionally. Because if your emotions are dependent upon other people, you're allowing that's toxic. Bro.
It is.
That's where
it
I'm
is.
like, I don't understand.
I agree, and I mean that's the thing where it's like, you're right. It is toxic, but it's like, where do you draw the line? And I'm always kind of unsure.
Do you think you're just on a pursuit of like bettering yourself in a certain sense?
Yeah, or just in a pursuit of truth about myself, not in some bigger way. Where it's just like, because because you so often meet people who are the opposite as well, right? I mean, it's like, say I'm a person who thinks too much about what other people think, but which is a problem. And then I think very regularly also meet, both in stand-up and in the world, people who have this great sort of unwillingness to care about what other people think, but in a way that becomes this sort of hard, like unpleasant, like shell, where it's like, well, yeah, there's this person, but he's just like he doesn't let anything in. So I find such people, just difficult to connect with, because it's like, yeah, I'm going to just say shit. We're just going to say stuff. And I can sense that, you're so sure of who you are, good for you, but you're so sure that who you are that like, well, there's nothing interesting for me because to me, like, some of connecting with someone is like, okay, that person's accepting something, letting something in. And so I just, and then you see people, right, who have this enormous confidence or like enormous self-belief, where then it's, and then you see their flaws, right? And they're so clearly flawed. And then it's like, not only are they flawed, that's fine, but someone like this is not going to change or even try to, because they reject that premise, right? That's worth doing, that's interesting, and so that stuff.
No, if you're ignorant, like if you are completely an ignorant person and just think, I don't need to change because I know exactly who I am, and like, yeah, that's harsh. That's like a sponge trying to marry a brick. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the brick's just going to crush the sponge. Like, it's just it's going to be an uneven energy match. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not. But
what you want to be is like that sponge that is hard some of the time, and then you put it in the water,
right?
And then it's soft.
I agree.
And we'll get rid of the analogy.
We'll
edit this out.
Thank you. I think that's good. But I think it's what I've kind of analyzed within myself of where this journey is taking me, because I do feel like this pursuit of comedy is kind of, in a sense, a bit of a spiritual pursuit as well.
Sure.
In a small sense, because
I mean, I think any serious pursuit, I think anyone, right? I think that's one of the things you realize doing this, but it's like, if you did anything very seriously, if you decided to become a carpenter, like, because I think it's not really the fact that it's comedy, it's more that when people decide to do comedy, it becomes a total pursuit.
Right.
Which doesn't happen with every job, but it could, like, if someone decided to be the best, shoe cobbler.
Right.
I think it would be similar.
I agree.
Similar.
Yeah.
But sorry, you were saying.
No, yeah. But I feel like this whole thing, for me, has felt more like an unfolding, an unraveling of myself.
100%.
Like it's peeling back the layers of the identities that I have formed over the years.
Yep.
those negative feelings of things that had happened and girls that had rejected me and all those feelings when I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, it's like an acknowledgement of that and peeling it away and going, that's not me. It's almost like, I feel like it's the opposite. The life should be more about the opposite. Instead of trying to form an identity, in some senses, it should be about trying to form no identity in a weird way. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does make sense, right? I mean, people,
I don't know, but you can't not form an identity from the outside. From someone looking, someone's always gonna view you in some way.
Yeah.
But within yourself, isn't it better just to view yourself in almost no way?
Totally. Or just feel like you're just, you're letting intuition or just
you're open.
Instinct, find whatever. Because I mean, and I think we can all feel that deep down we all have something good. You know, the truest parts of ourselves, I think, are, usually quite nice.
Yeah.
And they're not. I kind of believe, and I've certainly, found that there's. As you try to go into that, that's useful. It's very useful for just stand-up, for getting laughs, because there's a way. I mean, I guess maybe it's because most of us are bad actors, and no, really, but it's like at some level, all these other things, all these other identities that you've put on or you've created are like characters, and you get good at playing them, but as I said, I think fundamentally, and some of us are more talented at playing those characters than others, and that explains a lot of variation. But no one is as good at playing the characters mostly as they are as being themselves. Yeah, and so that as a performance thing,
it's like I sometimes say things that I mean in the moment, and then with literally a second later, I'll think to myself, I'll have this awareness. I'll be like, do I even mean that anymore? Is that even how I feel? I've said that because that's how I felt in the past, but I don't even know if I. Yeah, and it's just weird. It's like instantaneous awareness of like. It's crazy.
Yeah, no.
And so then it's like, what is this? It's.
Yeah, it's.
But then the struggle of that is, if that just gets emphasized, imagine if you felt like that all the time, how could you ever have an opinion on anything? Because the thing about comedy is thinking and feeling about a certain way and projecting your point, right? Or like telling a story from your point of view. But I don't know.
I think what you're getting at then is actually it's very interesting, especially I feel like to me, because that's a goal for me. Is you're right. Like sometimes you have to articulate these views in comedy, right? And people want that and they expect that, and you do that. You have some bit, right? You have some bit, and then it's like, especially as you do, like maybe the first time you do the bit at an open mic, whatever. Okay, you kind of even believe it. As you keep doing the bit, you also learn exactly what's wrong with the bit, right? Like you're saying the shit, and you're like, well, actually, having said this so many times, I know that I'm stupid. Like now I know that I thought this, but now I know why it was dumb, right? Right. And then you're stuck in this place where like now I have to keep doing this bit, whereas I also think it's dumb. Yeah. And then you kind of hate yourself. Yeah. So a goal I think for me is like, well, really the most honest thing to do would be to first do the bit, and then bring the audience on board, and then like kind of
dissect the bit.
And then dissect the bit and tell them what's wrong with it, and bring them on, because that's real. And then maybe you'll get to some third place. Yeah. Because I think that's true as well, right? It's like, because you go into the bit, then maybe you figure out what's wrong with the bit. But you won't be exactly back to square one. You'll be you'll be somewhere different, which might be how you really feel. Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Because I mean, so much. I mean, you feel it so much in the comedy, right? So much of what you say, there's the original impulse within, and then there's like that everything you've learned, which is like, well, this will get the laugh, or a little bit what you've stolen. We all steal it. Right? Like that's okay if I say this, it'll get funnier. Like I was writing a bit the other day, and I just felt myself sort of you know, like having that sense of like, Jesus, what have I become? Like, you know, like I'm just writing this because I know this is the kind of stuff people like I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking about how Genghis Khan has had the most sex ever, more than Wilt Chamberlain. Like that's not interesting. That's not something that's genuinely that interesting to me. But I know that it would get some sort of laugh, so you know I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. I and it's a hard way to write. I struggle with that because I completely agree. When I'm writing a new bit, I'm writing it because I think, oh, this will work. But it's like, is that actually how I feel? And I think that's where the pros, the guys who are just really veterans at it, like they just nail it because they just I don't know. It's so fucking honest. It's brutally fucking honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's certainly a thing that I tell myself, which is, and I don't know if it's the right way, but it's what is interesting to me is, like I would rather, and not that I get it right all the time, but I would rather just try to say something that is true, and then not have it be funny, than have a great bit which gets lots of laughs, which I actually have no real connection with, where it's just like, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard because in some way, right? And people like I do maybe it's actually why jokes at some level, while I like them, but like pure jokey jokes, right? Like to me, there's a limit to how rewarding they are. I mean, they can be fun and they're a good way to get people on your side, but to me, it's ultimately like writing a great joke. Like the best jokes are great, but they're like a lot of them, and maybe maybe I write a lot of observational stuff, or like, well, it's really just like logic. A lot of these things are like logical exercises, right? Like I'm trying to think of a good example, like
A plus B, like did it set up
access to, like this
premise,
the sort of
punchline.
the broken analogy is like a classic joke structure, right?
Right,
which is
right.
like this is the something of that, like so
C squared equals A squared plus B
exactly
squared.
And so to me those format of jokes, the issue is that like, well, you write them and it's like, oh, I did this clever little trick, and you actually realize like, oh, if I showed this to a mathematician, which is the actual person, that's the actual like discipline in which I've done this. This is a mathematical. This is like like a philosopher, a logician would sort of be like, okay, that's what you've done. You've proven that Okay, I'm struggling to come up with a great joke, but the point is like, well, if I showed it to that person, they would be like, well, this is what we teach, in philosophy 101. They literally do, right? Like these types of analogies, and they would have no respect for this. Wouldn't be some great achievement, and you can say that same joke on a comedy stage, and people are like, oh my God, you're so clever, like, oh, like I had this joke, I have a strange form of epilepsy. I'm vulnerable to flashing darknesses. Every time I blink, it's a roll of the dice. Which is funny. It's fun. It's funny.
Yeah.
But it's just like a little. I mean, there's so many jokes, right? There's like I have you just take something that's real, you invert it, somehow, just a little bit, and you have a joke.
Yeah.
And if you get the rhythm right, the timing right a little bit, and again, not that I'm great at it, and I'm not saying that can't be, that can be a discipline and a practice in and in of itself, but it's not what I personally find most rewarding, because it's like, well, I don't have, it would be funny if I fucking had epilepsy, and then I would have some grief about, this whole thing. So yeah, that's my spiel on on types of comedy, which is just like, well, the other type of stuff, right? Even if it's really dumb, even if it's even if it's like about my farts, as long as there's some real feeling, like, well, then no one can take that from me, right? Like it's about, that's right. That's so real.
They're the best bits. Like the best bits that I've come up with are like stuff that's kind of true or that's happened, you know.
Or emotionally true. Like
Right.
as long as the feeling,
Feels
and
right.
it's not a joke. I mean, right? Like as long as it connects to a real feeling.
Yeah.
Then it works.
Yeah. So how did you get into comedy in the first place?
I think so. So I always loved it. You know, I grew up in India, but I grew up certainly listening to a lot of comedy, watching comedy. The Mark Maron podcast, weirdly enough, I never, like, as a very young person, like, you know, 11, 12, I just got on this, which again, it was totally random. I was more like just searching for podcasts and just shit, because I would pretend to study and stuff, and I'd just be listening. It was like a great way to kind of pretend to be to be studying, because everyone's like, oh yeah, focus music or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You can, and so that, like, I think even more so than stand up, I watched a lot of comedy TV, like just shows, and I loved them, and all this happened, I think, for a long time. I mean, then I came here for college, blah blah blah. The one thing I realized, you know, just encountering people of different types who were very successful in different fields, and like I was studying computer science, you know, I was doing this master's. I would work with people who were doing PhDs, right, and very smart people, and I kind of realized, like, you know, okay, I'm not stupid, you know, I also aspire to be successful. But and these people have those qualities, but also I think those amongst them who are, you know, really great at what they do, they really truly love it, right? Like, so if they're working on this computer science research, they would like, they'd be thinking about that at night, right? They're heroes. Like, to them, the coolest guy in the world, truly, generally, is like this professor who came up with this idea, right? And they think about that guy, and they admire him, like worship him or her. And I just realized, like, oh my God, you know, that just isn't how I feel about this, right? Like, I'm like always doing these things, and I'm telling everyone, yeah, I do computer science research. I know that's stupid, you know, or I know that's lame, but like, that's how I felt about it. Not at all that it's stupid, but was my true feeling about it. And so then I, at some point, was just, and I had the same thing. Like, I was working in finance. These people who make, you know, enormous amounts of money, like investing stuff. They're not, you know, of course everyone loves fucking making enormous amounts of money, but again, the people who are fucking amazing at it, you realize, shit, this guy just likes doing it for it. If they weren't doing that, they would be trying to, like, play poker and make money off of that. Like, they're obsessed with some, like, thing about that, like, purely for itself. And so then I started trying to ask just a question, like, okay, if I stopped giving a fuck about what I'm good at, what people expect of me, anything. And I just had to answer the question. Like, if I could be anything, I think that was what it was like. If I could be anything, you gave me this option, and it was a true thing, right? If you gave me, not that any of these are plausible outcomes, but in my head, it's like, if I could be Elon Musk, or a successful, not like hyper, you know, if I could just be like, you know, a successful comedian, okay, whatever.
Yeah, you can make a living off it.
Make a living off of it. Maybe more than a
yeah,
little, but
yeah.
Okay. But if I had those two things, be the richest person in the world, or be a moderately, like a middle class, upper middle class comedian, I really would rather be an upper middle class comedian.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, if I have to try, then if that's true, then I should spend instead of trying to become Elon Musk, I should try to become an upper middle class comedian. And so that was
I love that, man. I was talking to my wife last night, because the Powerball is like going to be 1.8 billion tonight.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what we would do if we won. And I said to her, I was like, I would still do exactly the same thing. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah. I would live better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would still be doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Nothing would change.
Yeah. No, I feel, I mean, exactly. And I think that's just something,
Which I've never felt like that in the past.
I know.
When I was working, I was like, if I win lotto, bro, I'm
Yeah,
fucking out of here, boys. You're never gonna see me again.
No, I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean, and there's something powerful. I mean, maybe it's just what comedy is, or what it is to. I mean, there's always a part of me that has skepticism, and there's always a part of me like, maybe what this is we figured out a way to be unemployed and like do nothing and be useless. And still feel good about ourselves. Like maybe that's maybe that's what we've invented, is a way to just convince yourself you're doing something while actually, everyone else has to actually like bore themselves. Because I think that's what everyone is really doing, right? The cost that you pay, or like the thing you pay in all these jobs that you do in the world, is you pay with your own boredom, right? And you sort of suffer that, and then you get rewarded with these pleasures. And I think comedians are the type of person who've just said, I refuse to accept boredom.
Yes.
Which, I mean, maybe that's good, or maybe that's we're just pussies.
Yeah.
We can't take
there's
it.
some comfort in the boredoms. Like I was telling you before we started, I was like, there's sometimes I do miss. That's a nice car, an old Porsche. I fucking love that.
Yeah, well, that's.
Sometimes I do
table.
miss the monotony of at least for a while. But sometimes I do. I think my body and my mind sometimes miss the monotony of like just a normal 9 to 5, making a decent amount of money. Having like chunks of free time.
Yeah.
Where I'm like. Because the thing about comedy is you're always on.
Yeah.
You always think about it.
True.
And when you're not doing it, you're thinking about why you should be doing it.
You should be doing it.
And it's like, but at the same time, it's like, dude, this is still so much better.
Yeah, it's punishing. But to be honest, again, that's like kind of, I think, what I do love about it is because, that's the thing. To be good at anything, you kind of need to have that attitude. Like, if you want to be good at, you can, of course, make a great living just doing your 9 to 5, but if you're not happy with just making a great living, if you want to just be the best, there's some ego involved,
Yes.
right? The minute then there's that, and for me, at some level, and I think, again, a lot of comedians are like that, deep down, I'm an egotistical person, right? I actually I would be very unhappy if, I'm working this 9 to 5 and I'm making good money, but then there's this other guy there who is fucking, he's working 9 to 9 and he's king of the hill and everyone bows down to him, and we all have to, treat him like he's the shit, because he is, and to me that's very distressing. So then I need to be the guy who does 9 to 9. And then it was just like, and then I had to struggle with, I really don't want to do 9 to 9 in this thing. Yeah. And so then it's like comedy, yes, I have to do the 9 to 9. Yeah. But okay, at least I still kind of want to do it, and like I'm happy, and like it gives me an enormous amount of just self-satisfaction to be like, I'm grinding, I'm doing it. Again, who knows? Again, maybe that's all. Maybe what am I grinding? I'm sitting in a coffee shop, right? I'm right. I'm talking to myself. It's so fun. I talk to that's why you gotta love the city, right? Because I talk to myself so much, but everyone's.
It's so normal. I just put my headphones in when I'm talking to myself. So
I don't need an excuse. I'm like, you want to think I'm crazy? Go ahead. You'll see when I turn out to be not crazy. I'll show you. I like doing that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like a coffee. These girls will like listen. Like, yeah. You think I'm crazy? Okay, go for it.
Can I get your number now?
Yeah, because once you're crazy, it is very liberating. Because if you're crazy and then you act a little normal, then they're like, oh, he's fine. It's like then they kind of like you. He's fighting his demons.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a wild time. And when did you move to New York?
Just been about a year and like 3 months, and that's kind of when I started doing comedy. Yeah.
You're the same as me then.
Yeah, I think we started very
okay.
Similar. But I was in Jersey for six years before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting, man. It's been good getting to know you. Like your style of comedy is the most different out of anyone's that I've come across yet, in a really good way.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, that's very, very kind of you to say, and again, I mean, that's definitely part of what I try is like, okay, fuck, being funny, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But for now, if I can just keep pushing in a different direction. But dude, I've loved watching you from the first day. I remember your story with what was his name? The Pikachu and and Fatty or
Tits.
Tits. How can I forget Tits?
I haven't dropped that story in ages.
Yeah, but I that's like, to me that was, you always associate people with that first thing, and I just remember like, that guy's funny Australian.
There we go. It's been fun, man. I mean, like what I sometimes think, you look at like the political climate at the moment, and it kind of does.
This is a real turn in this conversation.
It kind of does feel like, I don't know. Are you good to talk about it?
Yeah.
It does kind of feel like, in a sense, the world has fallen apart in a little way, especially in the West. There just seems like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. But it feels like there's these puppet masters that are just taking us in a fucking weird direction, dude.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make any logical sense. Like, everyone's getting priced out of everything. It's getting harder and harder to live. Even my friends at home who all make good money, my family all make good money, and even my mum, who she's retired comfortably. Right. Even my mum's like, I just can't believe how expensive everything is getting. This is just so, and it just feels like, I feel like what comedy just. It doesn't feel like I'm getting so, like, I'm fucking poor, whatever. But I just feel like I don't care so much about the bullshit that goes on in the world. Yeah. I'm not as affected by doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there's something, and again, I don't know if it's, what the causes are. I don't know if the causes are political. I don't know if it's at this cultural level, like, people. I mean, I think there's, maybe there's this larger stuff happening at, the societal level. I really think, but it starts really with how everyone's feeling emotionally. Right. I think everyone's kind of feeling worse emotionally, I think, than we used to. Again, who knows? Maybe we're not, but I do. That's my suspicion, and so I think a little bit there's a like the '60s had the hippies or something. I do think our culture maybe is ripe for like this kind of second coming of like. I guess it's not
almost
hippies,
a revolution.
It's gonna be it's not gonna be a revolution, right? It's kind of like what the hippies were. The hippies thought they were the revolution. Well, they weren't shit. Yeah. They just had their moment of like, fuck everything. Yeah. And then they did that for like 10 years. And then they got it out, and then they went back to and then they turned into like
their little ants or little bees in their colony again.
Totally, yeah. So they had their they blew off their steam. So I think that's maybe something like what's happening with us, where I think part of, because I kind of know the other side of this, which is, I mean, now doing comedy, right? I know all these people, everyone's struggling, everyone's having a hard time. I definitely know the other side of the story, which is, as in all these people who were very successful, right? Like, it's everyone in tech, not everyone, but certainly a lot of these people in tech and finance who are very successful financially. I will say I really don't think those people also feel particularly happy.
I would agree.
I
don't think anyone's.
Yeah, so they, which is a funny thing, right? So everyone kind of feels like a loser. Even a lot of these people who are making, this actually very large amounts of money, and I don't know why that is, but because I mean, and not to go all Unabomber on you, but I think there's something about it. It's that we've actually very successfully specialized ourselves as a society into doing, very specific things, right? Which is like, okay, now you're great at, creating this code thing, and you do that. You do it very, very well. You're very handsomely rewarded for it. But now all your life, is this intense, right? It's that 9 to 9, it's like being a but it's this intense pursuit of this very relatively narrow discipline, and then if it starts to frustrate you, you're fucked. And so then that's why people come and sort of, you want to do something like comedy where, you know, there's still a lot of freedom at some level, right? Like just in terms of you don't have to go sit in the same place, the same time, do those same things. You can kind of figure it out, and people are craving that. And so I think that's part of why, I mean, there are too many comedians, right? And I'm sure we're part of the problem, right? Because it's like, are we just doing comedy because we love it, or are we escaping something else because we don't love that? Is it
or are we just feeding the ego?
Right, and all it's true. I'm sure, which we are for sure.
For sure,
right? We're fucking doing a podcast. The ultimate,
the greatest podcast in the world.
Yeah, this is it. We've had the answers. We've gone through most of the problems of society, the problems of reality itself, comedy, of course. I mean, that doesn't. But we've really solved and resolved.
I feel like the world's going to be a better place now after this. After this podcast.
I kind of knew that. That's kind of why, you know, I know you've been doing a lot of these podcasts, and you know, I thought maybe Cam will ask me to do one, and I thought about asking, but I was like, well, you know, I think he wants me to sort of be the final episode. But well, so thanks for that honor. And it's
I love that. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, if this is the final episode, if I perish,
that was in the contract.
Yeah. If this is the final, then I'm goddamn proud of this one.
And if this is the first one, that I think my second appearance on this podcast will be much less funny. So please watch this.
Well, mate, let's wrap it up, because that's a great way to end it. My my watch is dead. Give everyone the socials.
Okay, my name is Aatmik Gupta. That's my my social security number is my Instagram is aatmik.comic. That's really, I should have more socials, but for now that's the only one. Aatmik.comic, AATMIK.comic, as in Garfield or Peanuts.
Bro, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cam.
Guys, follow Aatmik. He's a fucking legend. He's fucking hilarious. And if you made it to the end, which I know a lot of you guys are, and I really appreciate that, please like and subscribe so we can grow this channel even more. Thank you, guys. Aatmik, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Absolute legend.
Oh, yeah.
See you in the next one, guys.
See ya.